Chair now recognizes Mr. McGuire.
Ask the governor a question, but I understand you have to go, but I just can't tell you how much our country is grateful to what you've done in Iowa, and I'm so excited that you want to continue that type of efficiency and work with DOJ and with President Trump's administration. We have a great country, and it needs to make sense, and I love what you said. We need the best practices and the right people. Thank you. So my questions, I'll divert those questions a little bit, but first of all, I would say is that I don't think we can remind folks, especially folks on their side, enough, is that through the grace of God, President Trump won a mandate on November 5th. He won the popular vote, the Electoral College, and the American people have spoken. And I don't understand why every time he puts in an executive order or makes a decision, it surprises folks, because every decision I'm seeing is what he campaigned on, and that's what the American people voted for. I would tell you this, there is a war on common sense, and it's really an effort for all of us to bring our country back to common sense. We have to have a meritocracy. We have to have the right people in the right place, or people get killed, and we don't have time to go over all the examples. I would say, as a small business owner, if the government was a business, the government would be out of business. We are spending more per day than we bring in per day, and that is not sustainable. If the government were to build a car, first of all, it would it would cost overruns. It would cost $1 million, and nobody in this room would buy it. It is amazing what the free market can do and how innovative it is. We probably saw Elon Musk created this rocket for 10 times cheaper what it would cost the government to do the same thing. And I heard some folks on the other side talk about these young people involved in what's going on with our data. But I want to remind them that young people are very capable. You ought to research the ages of our founding fathers, like Thomas Jefferson, when they created this amazing country. But if you look at the young people, saved the world during World War II on the Normandy beaches from Nazism. So young people are quite capable, and if you have the bright young minds, I don't care. I got to tell you, as a veteran, if you saved my life on the battlefield, I wouldn't care if you call yourself a Democrat, Republican, Independent. I don't care if you're young or old or pink or blue. We're all Americans, and we're in big trouble. And I think we're on the way to a sovereign debt crisis because we're spending so much. And I hear this talk, and we all know the government's not efficient. Corporate America and the corporate world is talking about how people perform better face-to-face in an office environment. And so we want to bring people back to work, yet folks on the other side are saying it's a terrible thing to bring people back to work. I got to tell you, people in my district have to go to work every day, and they don't understand why people who work in the government don't have to go back to work. We also heard a testimony in this committee about a week or so ago about a guy it took him 3 years to fire. I talked to a very, very successful businessman on breakfast yesterday, and he said if we have a guy who's not performing, we get rid of him in 3 minutes. We need to make the right decision. So my first question, and I apologize if I pronounce your name wrong, Mr. Schatz.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for your work to find ways to make the government more efficient. But I wish I could have asked this to the governor, but she had 3 presidential disasters declared in her state. And what are some things that you think we could have done better, more efficient, if we would have returned that power to the actual states or to the governors when they have these disasters?
Well, I think President Trump initially talked about eliminating FEMA, but then he said he would like to allocate that money back to the states. The first line in any kind of disaster is local officials. FEMA comes in late, takes a while to get the money, there's a lot of red tape. I think it's an area that absolutely needs to be examined. These are things, by the way, the other way to address this is to set up a federal fund that Congress provides every year so that you don't have to have these special appropriations, supplemental appropriations that then add on other funding for things that have nothing to do with the initial disaster. A lot of states have these rainy day or reserve funds. I think that would address a different aspect of emergency spending, but it would also reduce the need to have FEMA run out there every time something happens.
That makes a lot of sense. When is the last time our government passed a budget for Congress?
It's only been done 4 times, I believe, since 1974.
Would you agree, at the rate that we're growing government, that we are in danger of a sovereign debt crisis?
Well, it's $36 trillion now, going to grow by $2 trillion annually over the next 10 years. And yes, everybody says, oh, when is it going to happen? But we're really robbing our children and grandchildren of their future when we keep doing this.
Yeah, if we could make one best decision to fix this, what would you do?
Oh, part of what this committee is doing today is determine which programs are essential, which are functions that only the government should be doing, and if the private sector can do it. President Reagan talked about the yellow pages test. Now there's no more yellow pages, but pretty common sense to have a business answer or have the private sector do something. Usually it's more efficient, or at least match them, see which performs better.
Thank you. I yield back.